Guys, please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on the screen. Those who are attending in online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on the screen. Those who are attending in online. Is my voice is clear to all of you guys? Yes. All of you, please respond for me. Those who are attending in online, please respond for me. Yeah. Nice. All right. Good morning, guys. And check it what we completed in the last session. All right, sir. What the content we have discussed in the last class? All right, classes, abstract classes, and interfaces. Again, I'm telling to you, just I have given introduction part, then what is what information on these classes, abstract classes, and interfaces. Just my intention is how to declare an abstract class, how to declare an interface, and how to declare a class. Up to that only I have given there. In the future, in JDBC, again, I'm going to talk about, these classes, abstract classes, and interfaces. All right, sir. I will give the location where we are going to discuss about it clearly. Right. Now, today, we are going to see the next topic in a prerequisite part. Next topic in a prerequisite part, then what we have to understand there, that will be static keyword. What was the next topic here we have to understand there? Static keyword. Okay. Even though you are aware about all these points, but try to have concentration on all the content, these topics are important for us. If we want to understand the concepts in the future, definitely here we required all the concepts here. So without failure, try to understand it. Now let's come for this static keyword. What exactly the meaning of the static keyword? You know already. Static is a Java keyword. Right. It is a Java keyword, no doubt for it. Then what we are able to get from the static keyword? What advantage here we are able to get from a static keyword? If we observe this advantage for the static keyword, if we observe this advantage of static keyword, it's mainly for it can be used to improve shareability in Java applications. Right, sir. It able to improve shareability in Java applications. How it able to improve shareability, that we are going to see in the future. As part of the static content only, we are going to understand this is a shareability point here. But as of now, just we have to understand static is a Java keyword. It can be used to improve shareability. What is this shareability? How it able to improve? We are going to see in the future. All right. Next one is in Java, in how many ways we are able to utilize the static keyword? In Java applications, we are able to utilize static keyword in the following four ways. Actually, four ways are available to utilize the static keyword. What are the four ways to utilize the static keyword? Now, the very first one is like what I'm telling there, static variables. Second one is like what their static methods. And the third one is like what their static blocks actually that fourth type is like what there, static import. Static import. These are the overall four ways to utilize static keyword in Java applications. Observe carefully. If you want to go for JDBC, if you want to go for JDBC, all these four approaches are not required. This fourth one is not required in JDBC. Not much important for us here. Of course, in core Java, it is existed here, no? But anyway, it's not mandatory to learn the static import as part of this prerequisite for JDBC. All of you are getting clarity on this, what I'm telling here. So our requirement is what there? Only three concepts here now. Let's understand. Here also I'm telling there, static variables, static methods, and static blocks is a good content. If you want to extend this topic there, very good content here we are going to understand. But as of now, our situation is what there, up to how much we require to understand JDBC, up to that only we are going to understand. But in core Java classes, we are going to explore more and more content about the static variables, static methods, and the static blocks. Okay, not required here. Up to that level, basic points only we required. Try to understand it clearly. First of all, what is the static variable actually? Everybody understand this one, static variable. What is the meaning of static variable? Static variable is a Java variable. Right, sir. Before this, I'm going to be specify one simple point here. Try to understand it now. It may be useful for you. Now try to understand it. In Java, overall, how many types of variables are existed? If you observe this, initially, two types of variables are existed. Observe carefully. What are the two types of variables initially? First one is, you can say, local variable. First one is like what there, no? Local variable. And second one is class level variables. Please, all of you remember carefully, class level variables. First one is what there, local variables, and second one is what there, class level variables. Again, these class level variables are divided into two types. What are the two types of these class level variables actually? Observe carefully. The first one is static variable, static variables, and the second one is non-static variables. Non-static variables are also be called as instance variables. Understand it clearly. Non-static variables are also be called as what their instance variables. These are like what their, these are the variables, total set of variables in Java. Guys, now tell me how many types of variables are available in Java? Two types of variables. So what are the two types of variables here? Local variables, class level variables. Again, class level variables are how many types are available? Two types. What are the two types here now? Static variables, non-static variables. Non-static variables are also be called as what their instance variables. Good, nice. Where these local variables are going to be stored in stack memory. Please recognize this point here. In Java, again, three types of memories mainly we are going to use. Of course, five types of memories are available, but not required now. Only three types of memories here we are going to use. What are the three types of memories here we are using in Java? First one is stack, that means first one is method area. Next one is a stack memory. Third one is a heap memory. Method area, stack memory, and a heap memory. Observe carefully. Local variables data will be stored in a stack memory. Local variables data will be stored in a stack memory. Static variables data will be stored in a method area. Static variables data will be stored in a method area. Non-static variables or instance variables will be stored in a heap memory. Guys, observe this clearly, what I'm telling to you. Non-static variables or instance variables data will be stored in a heap memory. That's it. Now, these are the points here we have to understand. Sorry. Okay, fine. Now, observe carefully where we are able to declare this actually. If you understand this, inside methods, inside or there no methods, comma, inside constructors, comma, inside after this constructors, maybe blocks, in instance blocks or maybe static blocks or some things are available. So if we declare a variable inside a method or inside a constructor or inside a block or inside a try also, inside a try also, that is also be treated as what there, a local variable. Inside a try, comma, catch, comma, finally, inside all, if we declare any variable, that variable is treated as what variable here? No, local variable. Got my point or not? That variable will have scope up to that respective block only, up to the respective method only, up to the respective class only, sorry, up to the respective constructor only, up to the respective try only, up to the respective catch only, up to the respective finally only. If I declare any variable inside the try, it will have scope up to the try only. It is not available to outside of the try. Understand it, what I'm telling to you? Right, sir. Next one is this class level variables are like what there, where we are able to declare now inside classes, inside classes, then what next one you know, outside methods, outside methods, then what next one here after that, outside constructors, outside what there, constructors, observe carefully, then outside blocks, that's it. I'm not going to specify outside of the try block. Why? Because inside the methods only we are going to use try. Inside the method, outside the try, in the sense local variable only. Inside the method, outside of the try, in the sense what there, local variable only. That's why I'm not going to specify try catch finally for this. Understand it clearly? So if you declare any variable inside the classes, outside of the methods, constructors, blocks, then that variable is called as like what there, class level variable. All right, sir. Now at class level, with the static keyword, if we declare no, then that variable is called as what there, static variable. At a class level, without a static keyword, without a static keyword, if we declare any variable, then that variable is called as like what there is a in instance a variable. At a class level, at a class level, at a class level without a static, if we declare, then it is like what they know, in instance a variable. Then here what I'm telling they know, at a class level, at a class level with a static keyword, if we declare it now, then it is like what there, then it is static variable at a class level with a static keyword. That's it. So this is overall information about variables now. No need to get any doubt about this one. In the future also, whenever I'm using these variables, immediately we have to get clarity on this variables content. Guys, all of you are okay? All of you are understanding these points clearly? Right, leave this one. Right, Java, ADV Java 7, prerequisites. No. Right, sir. Variables. I'll share this one also to you so that you can understand clearly. After that, now let's move on to the content here. Static variable is a Java variable. Then what I'm telling there now, Java variable. Then what next one here now? It will store its data in a method area. It will store its data in a method area. Before this, I want to be specific one more point. Static variable is a Java variable. It will be recognized and initialized at the time of class bytecode loading. At the time of what there? Class bytecode loading. Static variable is a Java variable. It will be recognized and initialized at the time of loading the respective class bytecode to the memory. Everybody understand my point here? All right, sir. Now, here I'm asking one question to you. Now, try to answer for it. All of you know. For example, here I have taken a class A. All of you observe this clearly. Class A I have taken. Inside this class A, I have a constructor. What I have there? No constructor. Okay. Now, whether we are having constructor or not, that doesn't matter. Leave it. I want to create an object for class A. A small a is equal to new A. A small a is equal to new A. Again, I'm asking this question to all of you guys. Now try to answer for it. Here, what is an object here? What is an object here? Here, object is not represented in this intersection. Object is not represented in this intersection, but this intersection can be used to create an object. Object will be created at a heap memory. Object will be created in what there? Heap memory. Please recognize this. But whatever the object is created at heap memory, that object reference value is managed by a variable. That variable is called as what there? A reference variable. Internally, object will be created. That object will be referred by a variable. That variable is called as what there? A reference variable. Now we cannot say A is a reference variable. We cannot say A is a reference variable. In this overall instruction, new keyword is having functionality to create an object. New keyword has the internal functionality to create an object. Okay, after creating object, by calling this constructor, initial data will be provided inside the object. After creating object and after providing initialized data, initializations inside the object, some identities are created for that object. That identities will be stored in the form of a variable. That variable is called as what there? A reference variable. A variable is created. That variable is called as what there? A reference variable. That's it. Now this is that internal story here, what we have to understand. Okay, fine. Now observe carefully, all of you. When we execute this intersection, first a new keyword will be executed or not? First, which keyword has to be executed? Then new keyword has to be executed. As part of the new keyword, majorly two actions are going on. What are the two actions you know inside this new keyword? First one is load the respective class bytecode to the memory. Load the respective class bytecode to the memory. So A class bytecode will be loaded to the memory. Memory in the sense method area only. After loading A class bytecode to the memory, create an object by executing constructor. Create an object by executing what there? Constructor. So here two actions here. Load class bytecode to the memory and create an object by executing what there? Constructor. Now here my point is what there? At the time of loading class bytecode to the memory, at the time of loading class bytecode to the memory, JVM will recognize and initialize all the static variables. Not just before executing constructor, not at the time of creating object. At the time of loading A class bytecode to the memory itself, static variables are recognized and initialized. So static variables are recognized and initialized at what time? At the time of loading the respective class bytecode to the memory. Okay, fine. That point is okay. Now try to understand it clearly. Next one is it will store its data in method area. At which location? Method area. Next one is what there? What we are able to understand. The next point here. Understand this, no? All right, sir. Where we are going to declare the static variables, no? In a Java applications, we must declare static variables at a class level. Understand my point here? Always static variables must be declared at which level now? Class level, and with a static keyword. And with which keyword? Static keyword. Understand it clearly. and with a static keyword. If you forget to specify static keyword at a class level, automatically that variable is becoming as what variable here now? Any sense of variable. At a class level, if you want to declare any static variable, there what we have to use there? There we have to use which keyword now? Static keyword. In the case, if you forgot to specify static keyword, now that variable is not static variable. That variable is like what there now? An instance of variable. Leave this punch here. Another point, try to understand this clearly. Next one here. All of you, observe carefully what I'm telling you, So next one is in a Java applications, static variables never be declared as a local variables. Come on guys, static variables never be declared as like which variables can no local variables. Static variables never be declared as what they're local variables. Why sir? Why? What is the reason for it? No? Local variables are having lesser shareability or not. Local variables are able to share its value up to that method only. But static variable shareability level is what there? More shareability is available or not? So local variables are having lesser shareability. Static variables are having what there? More shareability. Both are opposite sides or not? Both are in opposite sides or not? That's why here we have to understand clearly. Static variables never be declared as like what there? Local variables. Right, sir. This is one point. Let me complete all these points here so that I'm able to give one example that finally on the base of these static variables. Okay, fine, right, sir. Now the next point is like what I'm telling to you. How do you access these static variables in Java? How it is possible to access static variables in Java? Observe carefully. In Java applications, we are able to access static variables either by using the respective class name directly or by using what there or by using the respective class reference variable, either by using class name directly or by using the respective class reference variable. Following this point here, in two ways we are able to access static variables by using class name and by using a reference variable. But instance variables, in how many ways we are able to access? No? Instance variables we can access in how many ways here? No? In only one way. What is that way here? No? By creating object by using reference variable. But here I'm telling one more point here, one small note type of point here I'm telling there. Please recognize this note type of point here. All of you observe carefully. This is important point here. Number of times we are going to see this point in the future in our application development, but try to understand it now. If we access any instance of variable by using a reference variable, contains a null value. Come on guys, if we access any which variable here no instance variable by using what there a reference variable contains a null value, then JVM will raise an exception. What is that exception guys? Now tell me. JVM will raise an exception like what there? Java.lang. What next one? No, null pointer exception. Java.lang. What is that exception here? No, null pointer exception here we are able to get. I'll show practically this point. Don't worry for it. All right, but here I'm telling you another point here. Now try to understand it. But if we access any static variable by using a reference variable contains a null value, contains what value here? Null value. Then what will happen there? No, if we access instance variable by using a reference variable contains null value, there we are getting an exception, null pointer exception. Now if we access the static variable by using the reference variable contains null value, there what we are able to get here? Then JVM will not raise any exception like java.lang. Null pointer exception. Come on guys, understand this point here what I'm telling there. Is it possible to get null pointer exception in the case of static variables? Is it possible to get null pointer exception in the case of static variables? Come on, now tell me, possible or not possible here now? Right, sir. Now here we have to understand null pointer exception is possible in the case of only, instance of variables, not in the case of what there? Static variables. Remember this point clearly. In the future, we are going to understand this content clearly. All right, sir. Next one here I'm telling to you after that. This is accessibility. Another point here, in a current class, we are able to access static variable. We are able to access static variable by using this keyword also. That means we are able to use this keyword to access what variable here now? Static variable. In general, most of the people are thinking this keyword, static keyword, both are at opposite. But anyway, here some possibilities are available and some things are not possible here now. So we can access static variable even by using what there? This keyword in the current class. If we want to access that in the current class, now there we are able to use like what keyword here now? This keyword. This keyword also here we are able to use. Right, sir. Now these are the points here we have to understand exactly about this particular one. Now here, now let me show some points here, some points. Now little bit, I want to show some points here. Now try to understand this clearly, all of you know. Right, so let me take a separate project here, new Java project. Now here, it will be like what there, app04 is a project here I'm taking. Everything is same. Then click on next button. Now here, click on finish button. Now don't create this one. Okay, fine. Now here, what I'm telling there, I want to create a class test. Now here, new. Then package here I want to create. Now the package is like what there, com dot Durgasoft dot app04 dot test, app04 dot test. Click on finish button. Now inside this I need to take like what their main class. Now here I want to take like what their class test. Here main method is required. Select it, click on finish button. All right, sir. Now this is what exactly the class here we are getting there. All right, sir. Now for the sake of our simple programming point of in the same test file I want to take a class A. There I want to show all the points here. I don't want to go for any separate package for the sake of this one. Easily we are going to understand it. Now try to understand this point here. Say for example here what I am telling now, I want to take a class A. Observe carefully. I want to take what there? Class A. Inside this class A, what I want to take there? Static int I is equal to 10 I have taken. Static int I is equal to 10. I variable is a which variable here now? Static variable. Now let me access the static variable now. How many ways we are able to access the static variable? In two ways. Here we are able to access it either by using class name or by using reference variable. Now let me create an object for class K now. Sys.out.println of class A small a is equal to new A. Then after that sys.out.println of A dot I. A dot I. Not only that, sys.out.println of capital A dot I. Now observe carefully. Static variable I access it by using reference variable and as well as like what there by using class name. In two ways we are able to access it. Now here we are able to execute it. Here we are able to get output like what there, 2 times output here we are getting. That's okay, fine. For example, here I want to take int j is equal to 20. Int j is equal to 20. J variable is what variable here? Instance variable. Now here let me check it. Is it possible to access that instance variable by using reference variable? A dot j. Possible or not possible here? Now let's check this one here. We are able to get like what output here? No, 20 is an output here. We are expecting. That's okay, fine. Next one is like what I'm telling there. Sys.out.println of capital A dot j. Possible or not possible? Possible or not possible? Not possible. Capital A dot j. Possible or not possible? Not possible. Here we are getting some compilation error. Now what about this error here we are getting there? No, cannot make a static reference to the non-static field A dot j. Some meaning is available, but the point is what there? This is an instance variable. That instance variable we are able to access by using reference variable only, not by using what there? Class name. Now here we are able to get like what there? Some compilation error here we are getting. That's okay. Leave this one. Next one is A1 is equal to null. A1 is a reference variable of type class A and its value is what there? Null. Null is a value here we are getting. Now try to understand this, guys. All of you know what I'm telling to you. Now here, what I'm telling there after that, Cessna doubted println of a1.j. Cessna doubted println of a1.j. J variable is what variable here now? Instance variable. Now a1 value is what there? Null. a1.j, I'm trying to access. I'm trying to access what value here now? a1.j. That means what we are able to get if I execute this program there. Here we are able to get an exception or not. What is that exception here? We are expecting there no null pointer exception here. We are expecting there or not. Exception thread means java.lang. Null pointer exception cannot read field j because a1 is null, because a1 is what there null. So here we are getting an exception here. Observe carefully. Now here this is like what there null pointer exception. All right, sir. Null pointer exception. Nice. Next one is, for example, I want to say Cessna doubted println of a1.i. Will you get any null pointer exception here? No. Will you get any null pointer exception here? No. No chances to get what there null pointer exception. Output here we are able to get 10 is an output here we are getting clearly. No null pointer exception here we are getting. In the case of what variable here? No static variable. Right. So this is accessibility. Now try to understand this clearly. Void m1 method here I've taken. Inside this void m1 method, static into k is equal to 30. Now getting an error or not? Getting an error or not? Now observe carefully what we are getting there. Illegal modifier for parameter k. Only final is permitted. What is not permitted here? No, static is not permitted. Here we are getting what there? Error here we are getting. Observe carefully. Now here we are able to get like what there? Compilation error. Right, sir. Now this is like what I'm telling here, compilation error. Okay, nice. Next one is Cessna doubted println of. Here I'm telling there clearly M1A. This is M1A. Current class static method we can access by using this keyword. Current class static methods we are able to access by using what keyword here? No, this keyword. Now here Cessna doubted println of. Right, sir. Cessna doubted println of this dot I we can use directly, no problem. This dot I we are able to use. That's it, guys. Now this is exactly the point here I'm telling here. Now here I want to call M1 method at the end. Now here A dot M1 method here, if we call no some output here we are able to get. That's it. Then what exactly that output we are getting? That's okay. It is not mandatory now. But finally, what exactly the points we understood about the static variable that we have to understand clearly. Right, sir. Now let's check this point here. Now this is simple program for it. Now try to understand this clearly. All of you are getting clarity on the static variables part now. Now tell me, all of you now tell me at what time static variables are recognized and initialized? At what time static variables are recognized and initialized? At the time of loading the respective class batch code to the memory. Okay, fine. 1 minute. 1 minute, sir. But ఉన్నాయా ఏవి guys 1 minute. ఇక్కడ పెట్టిన కొత్తవే. ఇంకా రెండుది తీయండి. ఏ కొత్తవి ఇవి? ఇది మొత్తం కొత్తవి ఉన్నాయి నాకు. ఇంకా రెండు తీయండి. Right, sir. Now, I'm going to ask few questions to you. Now, try to answer for these few questions. No, static variables are recognized and initialized at the time of loading respective class batch code to the memory. In which memory static variables data will be stored? Method area. At what level that static variables must be declared? Class level only, not at local. Okay, fine. Next one is after completion of these points here. Next point, what I'm telling to you. Now, null pointer exception is possible in the case of what variables here? No. Null pointer exception is possible in the case of what variables here? No. In the case of instance variable. Null pointer exception is not possible in the case of which variables? No. Static variables. That's it. So these are the various points here we have to understand about like what are their static variables. Not more than this, and more information will be covered in core Java classes here, not required. This basic information is sufficient now. Now let's move on to the next second part, second point in static keyword, that is like what they know, static methods. Static methods. Now try to understand this. Now just I want to know something about it. I want to ask to you. Tell me guys, how many of you are already aware about these points previously? Please raise your hands. Okay, this is not my right question. How many of you are not aware these points previously? All these points, please raise your hands now. Okay, good, nice. Definitely, there is a meaning to discuss about all these points here. We required anyway. These points we required clearly. Now try to understand it now. All right, so static methods points. If we observe this, what exactly the meaning of the static method? Now, static method is a Java method. That is, it's a set of instructions. It's a set of instructions. And then what next one, you know, when it will be recognized and executed, actually, it will be recognized and executed. Come on, guys. Now tell me, all of you know, at what time static variables are recognized and executed? Static variables are recognized and executed at what time, you know? At the time of loading the respective class batch code to the memory. Now, what about the static method? No, static method is a normal Java method, or it is a set of instructions. It will be recognized and executed. It will be recognized and executed the moment when we access that method. Don't say exactly at the time of loading the respective class batch code to the memory. The moment when we call this method, then only that method will be recognized and executed. Right, sir. Here the continuation I'm telling there. If we access that method, if we access static method at a load time, then it will be executed at a load time. If we access that method at load time, then it will be executed at load time. Understand my point here? For example, if we access static method after creating object, that is at a runtime, then it will be executed at a runtime. That means at what time we accessed this particular method, on the basis of that only this method is going to be executed. If we access this method at the time of loading the respective class bytecode, then that method will be executed at a load time only. And if we access that method at runtime, that is after creating object by using reference variable, if we access that, no, then it will be executed at what time there? No, runtime only. That's it, sir. Now this is what exactly the meaning of like what their static method, basic information. Now observe carefully. After completion of the static method, basic point here. Next point is static methods are able to allow. Please recognize this method, this point here. This is also an important point here. Static methods are able to allow only static members of the current class directly. Static methods are able to allow only which members of the current class, guys? Now tell me, no, static members of the current class directly, not allowing instance members of the current class, directly. Right. What are the static members actually? Static variables, static methods. Static members are what? They're static variables, especially static variables. I'm telling there. Static variables, static methods, and static block. is nothing but static members. Instance members are what they know? Instance variable, instance method, and instance block here. So static methods are able to allow only what members can know? Only static members of the current class directly, not allowing instance members of the current class directly. But I have a requirement. What is my requirement here? Inside the static method, I want to access instance members. Inside the static method, I want to access what members they know? Instance members. Then what I have to do there? Right, sir. In static methods, all of you observe carefully. In static methods, if you want to access instance members, then we must create object for the respective class. Am I right or not? Then we have to create the object for what their respective class, and we must use the generated reference variable. If we want to access instance member of the respective class, instance member of the respective class in the static method, then what is the alternative, guys? Now tell me. No, we must create object for the respective class inside the static method, and we have to use in a reference variable. Whatever the reference variable is generated, we must use the same reference variable to access the respective static that means instance member inside the static method. Guys, all of you are following or not? Right, sir. Now this is one thing here we have to understand clearly. Next one. After that, listen carefully. Static methods are not allowing this keyword. Static methods are not allowing which keyword? You know, this keyword in its body. But understand carefully. Static methods are not allowing this keyword in its body. But to access current class static method, to access current class static method from some other method, to access current class static method from some other method, we are able to use what keyword? You know, we are able to use this keyword. In the static method body directly, this keyword is not possible, but to access current class static method from some other method, there which keyword is possible here? No, this keyword is possible. Everybody understand it clearly. Next one, I'll show every point practically. Now tell me, all of you, now tell me, after completion of this particular point, then how we are able to access static methods in Java. In Java applications, observe carefully, Java applications, we are able to access static methods. Tell me, either by using what? Either by using class name directly, or by using what? Or by using the respective class reference variable. The respective class, what they know? Reference variable. In Java applications, we are able to access static variables, static methods by using class name directly, or by using what there? The respective class reference variable. But again, the same point here I'm telling there. One note here I'm telling to you. What is this note here? And before that, now tell me, out of this class name or reference variable, which one is suggestible to access static method? No. Right, sir. Always it is suggestible to use. Always it is suggestible to use what there? Class name to access static method. Static variable and static method, both I'm telling there. No. Always, which one is suggestible there? No, class name. Not required to go for what there? Reference variable. Reference variable in the sense somewhat related with object. In the sense, what's the meaning of it? No, its meaning is like what I'm telling there, somewhat related with object in the sense. What is its meaning here? No, right. Creating object is nothing but what there? Increasing burden to the application. Object creation is somewhat strengthful operation. Object creation is a somewhat strengthful operation internally. So definitely burden will be increased when we create an object. But max level, try to access the members without creating object. If you want to access any member, in the sense when it is possible here, no, whenever a variable or method is a static, then only it is possible to access that by using class name without creating object for the respective class. Right, sir. Anyway, all these points already you must aware. No, always it is suggestible to use class name to access static method and static variable. That's okay. But another note here, what I'm telling to you, observe carefully. if we access any instance method by using a reference variable contains null value. Right, sir? If you access any instance method by using a reference variable contains null value, then what will happen there? Now tell me. Then JVM will raise an exception. Then JVM will raise what there? An exception. What is that exception, guys? Now tell me. Then JVM will raise an exception like what there? Java.lang. Null pointer exception. But what is the case here? But if you access any static method, if you access any static method by using a reference variable contains what value here? Contains a null value. Then what will happen there? Now tell me. Then JVM will not raise any exception. JVM will not raise any exception like what there? Java.lang. Null pointer exception. Guys, all of you are getting my points or not clearly? Right, so now let's see all the possible points here with respect to this particular one here. What we understood about the static method, try to understand it here. Static method is a Java method. It's a set of finish sections. It will be recognized and executed the moment when we access that method. If we access static method at load time, then it will be executed at load time. If we access static method at runtime, then it will be executed at runtime only. That's okay. Then what next one here? Apart from this, no. Static methods are able to allow only static members of the current class directly, not allowing instance members of the current class directly. But if we want to access instance members inside the static method, there we have to create an object for the respective class and we have to use the generated reference variable. Next one, static methods are allowing this keyword. Static methods are not allowing this keyword in its body, but to access current class static methods, what we require there now? If you want to access current class static method from some other method, there we are able to use what keyword here now? This keyword here we are able to use. Next one is in Java applications, we are able to access static methods by using class name directly or by using the respective class reference variable. But here the cases are available. In between this class name and reference variable, what is suggestible there now? Always class name is suggestible to access static method and static variable. Next one is if we access any instance method by using a reference variable contains null value, then JVM will raise an exception like what there? Java.lang. Null pointer exception. But if you access any static method by using a reference variable contains null value, then JVM will not raise any exception like what there? Java.lang. Null pointer exception. Guys, now try to observe these points clearly, what I'm telling to you. Right, sir. Here itself, I want to show that points here. All of you observe carefully. Now here I've taken class A. Okay. Now this is like what there? Static void M1 method. M1 method is what method here now? Static method or an instance method? Static method. With a static keyword, we declare this M1 method. Now this method is what there? Static method. Now how I'm able to access this now? A small a is equal to new a. Object I created a dot M1 method. That is possible. Capital A dot M1 method is also be possible. See, in A dot M1 method, one yellow line is available. I've seen this one yellow line. In a capital A dot M1 method, no yellow line here. So that yellow line is representing warning. What is this warning here? Now observe carefully. Not compilation error, just an alert message for us. What it is giving alert message? No, the static method M1 from the type A should be accessed in a static way. It's asking there, try to access that in a static way. Means that don't use a reference variable, better to use what their class name. That it is asking there now. That's okay, no problem. Then no changes in our output here, no compilation error. Output here we are able to get 2 times M1A, M1A. That we are getting clearly. Right, sir. Now let's observe carefully. Int I is equal to 10. I variable is what variable, sir? I variable is what variable? No, in instance of variable. Observe carefully. Sysnut out.println of 5. Possible or not possible? Possible or not possible? Here we are getting an error. What is this error here? We are getting there. Observe carefully here. Cannot make a static reference to the non-static field. That means inside the static context, instance members are not allowed directly. So here we are getting like what there, an error here we are getting. Observe carefully. Next one is, for example, static int j is equal to 20 I have given. Now get system dot out dot println of j. Tell me, are you getting any compilation error here? No compilation error. Now let me execute this. Here we are able to get 20 and 20. Two times here we are getting output here. Why? Because two times we call this method clearly. Next one after that. Here no error we are getting. But my requirement is I want to access I variable. I want to access what variable here? No, I variable. So what we have to do there? No, a small a is equal to new a. Sysnot dot println of a dot what there? I. Are you getting any compilation error now? No compilation error here we are getting. Now let me execute this. Here we are getting 10 value here. Two times we call this method. Two times we are getting what value here? No, 10 value here. That's okay, fine. Next one is I want to access a static variable by using this keyword. This dot j. Now tell me, possible or not possible? Why it is not possible here? No, right? Cannot use this in a static context. Means that this keyword is not possible in the static method. Here we are able to get like what there, an error here we are able to get here. That's okay, fine. Right, sir. After completion of this, another point here I'm telling to you, try to understand it. For example, I want to take a void m2 method. Void m2 method. What is this method here we have taken there? No, void m2 method. This is what their instance method. Instance method system out println of m2a, for example. Now here my requirement is what there. Observe carefully. This keyword is not allowed inside the static method. This keyword is not allowed inside what method here? No, static method. But now I want to use the same this keyword to access what their static method. In the body of static method, this keyword is not allowed. But to access current class static method from other method, there we can use what keyword here? No, this keyword here we are able to use. This dot m1 method, it is possible. Of course, some warning message here we are getting there. That's okay, fine, no problem. But it is possible. Now okay, let me access this m2 method here. No, a dot m2 method here we are able to get. Whatever the output we are getting after m2a, then every output is related to like what there? No, this m2 method output only here we can understand. Right, sir. Then after that, after completion of this, listen carefully. M1 method is what method, sir? Static method. M2 method is what method here? No, instance method. Nice. Now try to observe this clearly. A small a is equal to null. Right. A already declared here. A1. Now here A1 dot M2 method. A1 dot M2 method. A1 contains what value? Null value. M2 method is what method here? No, instance method. Then what will happen there? No, null pointer exception here we are able to get. Here we are getting like what there? Java dot lang dot null pointer exception cannot invoke a dot m2 because a1 is what there? Null. That's okay, fine. So here we are able to get like what there? Null pointer exception. Next one is after completion of this a1 dot m1 method here. A1 dot M1 method. A1 contains what value? Null value. A1 dot M1 method. Will you get any null pointer exception here? No. Now try to check this here. Here we are not going to get any null pointer exception. Here we are getting some other output clearly. M1A 2810. Now this output here we are getting clearly. Right, sir. Almost all the points here I completed there. But one more point here I want to show to you. Now try to understand it. There's a simple program about this static method. Guys, observe carefully. One more small example here I'm telling to you. What is this example here I'm telling to you? Understand this. I want to remove everything here. For example, constructor system outward println of a con. Now here, I said you previously, static variables are recognized and initialized. Static variables are recognized and initialized. At what time they know? At the time of loading the respective class bytes code to the memory. So here what I'm telling there, system outward println of m1a here written 10. So now tell me, if a static variable is recognized and initialized At the time of loading class bytes code to the memory, that is before executing constructor, then first output should be what there? M1A. Next output should be what there? Acon. If a static variable is recognized and initialized at the time of loading class bytes code to the memory, then what is that output here we are expecting there now? M1A. We are calling this M1A method along with the static variable or not? So M1 method will be executed along with the static variable. There what output here we are getting there? M1A output here we are getting. After completion of this only here we are getting like what output there now? Acon output here we are getting. If it is a case, for example. And observe carefully, a small a is equal to new a. Now here what is the status now? First a class bytecode has to be loaded. At the time of loading a class bytecode, static variable is recognized and initialized. As part of the initialization of static variable M1 method will be called. Then where we are able to get output like what there? M1A. Return 10. 10 value will be assigned to I variable. So static variable is recognized and initialized. Next, immediately after loading class bytecode to the memory, then JVM will access constructor to provide initial data while creating object or not. So then constructor will be executed. What is that output here we are expecting, sir? Now tell me. M1A Acon. M1A Acon. Output here we are expecting. Right, sir. Almost all possible cases are shown in the case of this programming here about this static methods. Leave it. Now these points are more than sufficient about to go for advanced Java related to static method. From the static methods, what points mainly I required now? We are able to access a static methods by using class name. Why? Because in every JDBC program, I'm going to use frequently driver manager dot get a connection method here. I'm going to use frequently. I'm going to use this. There we should not come back. You should not ask now. Then sir, why this get connection method is called by using driver manager class. Driver manager is a class actually. You should not ask any question to me like what there. How get connection method is called by using class name. If this get connection method is called by using class name in the sense what method this method no. This method should be what there? Static method. Immediately we have to get such type of thought. There we should not get any confusion. Because of the small doubts clarification only, I'm taking like what there no. This is a prerequisite part here. In JDBC, in every JDBC program, we are going to use this type of intersections. Connection con is equal to driver manage dot get connection. Then automatically this get connection method would be like what they know? Driver manager here. Say for example, in JDBC, statement st is equal to con dot create statement method here we are able to write. Now we can understand this create statement method is called by using reference variable or not. Now by using reference variable, we call this method in the sense which type of method it is no. It may be static method, it may be instance method, but the convention is what there? In general, instance methods are accessed by using what there? Reference variable. So max priority for which method you know? Instance method. If any method is called with the class name, static method, blindly we can decide. If any method is called with the reference variable, two cases are possible. Maybe static method, maybe what there? Instance method. But as per the convention, we can fix what there no instance methods we can fix. All of you are following or not? Right, sir. Leave this one. So this information is sufficient about like what there static methods content here. Then what next ones are now? Tell me. What next one again? No, static blocks. Yeah, this also be required. If you want to discuss about drivers topic in JDBC, load and register a driver. Load and register driver is a step actually. To register the driver, we need a static block inside the driver class. That static block contains a register driver method. Then the register driver method is available inside the static block. No, then while executing the static block, automatically register driver method will be executed. This statement I am going to say in JDBC. But if you want to say this statement in JDBC, first we should not get any doubt what is this static block. We should have a little bit about the static block now. That's why here I'm discussing about the static block content clearly. Right, sir. All of you observe carefully. What is the meaning of the static block now? Guys, observe carefully. It is a set of instructions. It is a set of instructions. It will be recognized and executed. It will be recognized and executed. What times are now? Tell me. recognized and executed at the time of loading the respective class bytecode to the memory. Guys, now all of you respond for me. Static variables are recognized and initialized at what time? Static variables are recognized and initialized at what time? At the time of loading class bytecode to the memory. Static methods are recognized and executed at what time? Depends on your method call. If we call that at load time, it will be executed at load time. If we call it runtime, it will be executed at runtime. Am I right or not? Similarly, now tell me, static blocks are recognized and executed at what time automatically? At the time of loading the respective class bytecode to the memory. Same as static variable. Same as what there? Static variable. Observe carefully. Next point is like what I'm telling there. After completion of this, right, sir? After completion of this, it able to allow only static members of the current class. It will not allow instance members of the current class. This point is somewhat related with the static method or not? Now from the static method here we are getting like what point here? No, it able to allow only static members of the current class. It will not allow instance members of the current class here. It will not allow instance members of the current class. Answer my point here. But here node point is what there? If we want to access, come on guys, now tell me what is the node type of point now? If you want to access instance methods, if you want to access instance methods in a static block, then what we have to do there? Come on, then we must create an object for the respective class, and we have to use the generated reference variable, and we have to use what there? The generated reference variable. Right, sir. Then only here we are able to access instance members. That's okay, fine. Next one is it possible to use this keyword inside the static block? No. Static blocks are not allowing which keyword here? No, this keyword. Static blocks are not allowing which keyword? No, this keyword in its body. Right, sir. Right, sir. What is the syntax of the static block actually? Syntax would be very simple. Now just use a static keyword, static open and closed, and a set of finish sections here we have to write. Right, so syntax is what there? Static and a set of finish sections. These finish sections are able to provide like what there might be the context what we are trying to execute through the static block. That inner sections here we have to write inside the static block. Static open and closed. Static, then what next one here? No, open and closed. Right, so these are the points here we have to understand. Let's see the points what I completed here. It is a set of finish sections. It will be recognized and executed at the time of loading the respective class bytecode to the memory. Next one is it able to allow only static members of the current class. It will not allow instance members of the current class. If you want to access instance methods in static block, then we must create object for the respective class, and we have to use the generated reference variable. And we have to use what their generated reference variable. Static blocks are not allowing this keyword in its body. Static blocks are not allowing this keyword in its body. All right, sir. Observe carefully. I'm going to show an example on the base of these points clearly. Observe this now. Now I want to remove this particular one here. Now this one also here I want to remove. Now try to recognize this. Now directly here I want to take like what they know. Static block. System.out.println of SBA. Next, I want to take like what their constructor. System.out.println of acon. Guys, all of you observe carefully. A small a is equal to new a. What output here we are able to get from this? Now tell me. What is that output here we are able to get now? SBA acon. How can you say SBA acon here no? First JVM will load a class bytecode to the memory. At the time of loading a class bytecode to the memory, what it is going to be executed? SBA output here we are getting. After loading A class bytecode to the memory, JVM has to create object by calling constructor or not. While creating object by calling constructor, constructor will be executed, where output is like what there, acon is an output here we are getting. Next one after that. Now let me execute this here. What we are getting now, SBA acon, that output here we are getting. Next one is, for example, int I is equal to 10 now. Next one is static int j is equal to 20. Right, sir. Can I use directly sys.out println of I here? Is it possible to use I variable directly? No, here we are getting some compilation error or not. What error here we are getting there? Cannot make a static reference to the non-static field. So here we are getting like what there? Compilation error here we are getting. Error we are getting. Next one is sys.out println of j. Possible or not possible? As possible here. Now here, if you run this one, here we are able to get output is like what there? J. J is an output here we are getting. That's okay, fine. But I want to access I variable inside my static block. I want to access I variable inside the static block. Then what we have to do there? We have to create object for the respective class K. Then sys.out println of a dot what variable here we have to provide there? I variable. Let me execute this here. We are getting like what there? 10 is the value here we are getting for this. Okay, 10 value. That's okay, fine. Here constructor we called here. Then a class, the icon output here we are getting. That's okay, fine. Next one is after completion of this, sys.out println of this dot j. Possible or not possible? Even though we accessed static variable by using this keyword, but this keyword is not allowed inside what they know static block here. So here we are getting some output here. Now here we are getting some error here. Like here we are able to get like what error? Why? Because this keyword is not allowed inside the static block. Right. These are the various points here we understood about this particular content. Guys, overall, what keyword here we completed there? What keyword we completed there? Static keyword. The topic here we completed. Now try to recognize this. Static import is available but not required here. This is almost the same as like what there? Normal import only. Right. Then what is this next topic, guys? Now observe carefully. Yeah. This is the most important topic in JDBC. Without this method, without this class.forName method, no JDBC program is existed. But its origin is from core Java. It is not available in directly JDBC. It is available in what there? Core Java. So we have to understand little bit at least what kind of information about this class.forName method and a new instance method. Then after that, we are going to understand the points here. Right, sir. Anyway, now try to understand it, what I am telling to you. All of you recognize these points here. For example, listen carefully. I will take a simple example here. Consider the following program. What is this program here I am going to take there? For example, class K. Simple. Understand this? 1 minute. Let me remove this here. Let me take a separate project. Java project. Now here, project name like app05. Next button. Finish button. Don't create. Directly I want to take a class. Here itself we can create package. Here also we can create package now. Com dot Durgasoft dot app05 dot test. A test is a class name here I'm going to prepare, and main method is also be required. Click on finish button. At a time package and class both are created. Alright, sir. Now observe carefully. I'm taking class A. Inside this class A, static block. System.out.println. Can I write class loading? Inside the static block, can I write class loading? How can I say like this? How can I write like this? Here the point is what? Static blocks are executing at what time? At the time of loading respective class bytes code to the memory. So nothing is wrong for writing like this. Alright, now let's come for it. Now here, can I write a constructor like this? System.out.println of object creating. Definitely, constructors are executed at the time of what there? Object creation. So static block is representing class loading. Constructor is representing what they know? Object creation. Now in my main class and main method, a small a is equal to new a. A small a is equal to new a. A small a is equal to new a. Now tell me guess, what is going to be happen here now? A small a is equal to new a. What's going to be happen here now? Tell me. First, JVM has to load A class bytes code to the memory or not? At the time of loading A class bytes code to the memory, what it is going to be executed? Static block will be executed. Here output is like what there? Class loading. After that, JVM has to create object by calling this constructor or not? Now, whenever it is calling constructor, where object is creating. So object creating here we provided. Now let me execute this. Output for this is like what there? Class loading. Then what next one? No, object creating. Class loading and object creating. So here the point is what I'm telling there. Consider the following program. Here what I'm telling there. In the above program, if we create object for a particular class, then JVM will perform the following two actions. What actions JVM is performing there? Observe carefully. First one is JVM will load the respective class. JVM will load the respective class byte code to the memory. Then second action is what they know. JVM will create object for the respective class. First class loading, then after that object creation. Both outputs we are getting or not? First one is what their class loading. Next one is like what I'm telling there, object creation. But here my requirement is what? Answer my point here. But in the above context, as per the requirement, as per the application requirement or whatever it may be, as per the requirement, we don't want to create the object. We don't want to create the object, but we want to load the class. We want to load class byte code to the memory. Guys, are you getting my point clearly? What I said, in the above program, if we create an object for the respective class and we execute the program there, JVM will perform two actions. What two actions that JVM is performing there now? JVM will load the respective class bytes code to the memory. JVM will create object for the respective class. They are the two things here. Okay, fine. But what is our requirement here? In the above context, as per the requirement, we don't want to create the object. But what we want to do there? We want to load class byte code to the memory. Why? Because I said to you already, creating object is nothing but what? If we create object, then what is going to be happen here now? Burden will be increased to the Java program. Too many objects if we create now, unnecessarily, too much memory will be consumed and too much burden will be increased to the JVM. So as much as possible, try to access the members without creating objects. All of you are getting my point or not? See, for this particular point, I can say one more thing now. Right from Java 8 version and before Java 8 version, two things are available. Before Java 8 version, no functional programming features are available in Java. Purely object orientation is going on in Java. In Java 8 version, functional programming is provided. Functional programming was introduced in Java 8 version onwards because of two reasons. Why functional programming is included inside the Java right from Java 8 version onwards. What is the reason for it now? Because of two reasons. When compared with object-oriented programming, functional programming is taking less lines of code. Functional programming is taking how many lines of code? No, less in sections. When compared with what their object-oriented programming. That is the reason why. That is the reason why. Then Java is also be moving towards what they know functional programming from object-oriented programming. Reason number one. Reason number two, in object oriented programming, what is going to be happen? Everything for every class, for if we want to perform any particular operation, everywhere we have to create objects. Every time we have to create objects. Without creating object, nothing is going to be happen in Java. That means when objects creation is mandatory, automatically burden will be increased to the Java application or not. Automatically object orientation is becoming as a heavyweight solution or not. That program or that application is becoming as what they know heavyweight application or a heavyweight solution. So Java people wants to reduce that heavyweightness to the application. To reduce heavyweightness to the application, then what they are thinking there, we need to perform some operations without using objects. We want to perform some operations without using objects, without creating objects. Any other possibilities are available or not? By the time they identify the solution is what their functional programming. In functional programming, too much object creation is not required. It's mandatory to create objects, then only objects are going to be utilized. Otherwise, then without having objects explicitly, functional programming is going on clearly. So due to the lines reduction, due to the number of lines reduction, and due to the avoid of creating objects, the Java people are moving towards what they know functional programming from Java 8 version, away from like what their object orientation. But object creation is mandatory, definitely in Java. But at the same time, as much as possible, we have to reduce the creation of the objects in Java. For that purpose, functional programming is coming. Because of that reason only, lambda expressions are available in Java. Because the main concept is what there lambda expressions. Because of this particular reason only, lambda expressions are coming into the picture in the case of Java as part of functional programming. Right? All of you get my point or not? So here also be the related point here I'm telling to you. What related point here I'm telling to you clearly? Understand this, what I'm telling to you. So in the above context, as per the requirement, we don't want to create objects. If I create object, burden will be increased. So, but we want to load class bytecode to the memory. If I load class bytecode to the memory, my required activities will be completed. So not required to create an object. Just I want to load class bytecode to the memory. Understand it, what I'm telling there. So because of that reason here, what I'm telling there, observe carefully. Right, sir. In a Java applications, if we want to load class bytecode to the memory without creating object, then we have to use the following method from java.lang.class class. Observe carefully, in java.lang.class is also a class. Yes, are getting my point or not? In Java, class is also a class. Class is a keyword where C is a small. Class is a class where C is a capital. That a class C capital is available in java.lang package. It's also a class. Inside this class, there is a method. What is this method is existed here now? Public static class for name of string class name. That is a fully qualified name. Throws class not found exception. Throws what? No, class not found exception. Right, so now this is what exactly the method prototype here I'm telling there. Public static class for name, string class name, throws class not found exception. Right, sir. Its utilization I will discuss with you tomorrow, guys. Its utilization I will discuss with you tomorrow, and tomorrow we are going to see the most important topics there. After completion of this class.forName method and unisense method, I'll discuss about throws keyword and try catch finally. Then tomorrow max these two concepts will be completed. Here remaining part gradually we are going to discuss one by one clear. So whenever I'm going to discuss about buffer reader, topics will be very, very important. On the sequence I'm going to discuss there, buffer reader, scanner, after this a console. These topics I'm going to take. These are like what they're dynamic input approaches. How to take dynamic input and how to get data from console directly while executing our applications, that we are going to discuss. So without failure, we have to attend all these classes, guys. Just give a minute of time. 1 minute. 1 minute, 1 minute. Where is my ID? Right. Right, guys. Now let me check it now. Then I don't have this actually. Okay, fine. Guys, all of you are doing practice over these examples. At least the basic content what I'm discussing there. And depending on your view, try to complete that. Why? Because then total notes here I'm providing there and diagram also here I'm providing today. Why? Because say at basic level, okay, the concepts are very much simple. Then it may not be difficult for you. But once we are moving on to the content there, definitely the topics will be very much difficult. So without failure, you have to practice these examples. Try to have that habituation actually. Try to have habituation for these examples. If you're trying to practice every day, automatically the same habituation is coming whenever we are doing examples on JDBC. All right, in which way you have to practice these points? No, simple example I'm telling to all of you guys. Just if I ask a question to you, tell me something about static keyword. During this 1.5 hour of time, what I discussed here, everything we have to give without failure, even a single point, without missing even a single point, and every point we have to recollect. If you are able to talk about all the points on a single flow, then you are able to get the total content. Reading the content is different, remembering the content is different. I expected all of you to remember the content, not to read the content from your notebooks. So meanwhile, try to do the exercise. Whatever the exercise I am doing inside the classes now, try to prepare that exercise. Right? Right, sir. That's okay, fine. That's all for today. I'll meet on tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to see the remaining content, guys. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Fine.